And let's put all these in perspective now as we talk to public affairs analyst and communications scholar, Professor Idowu Sobowale. Good to have you on the News Hour this afternoon. Well, the acting president has said he will come down hard on those who are threatening the territorial integrity of this nation. How reassuring is it when you hear from the acting president that Southeasterners should feel at home in the north, and of course the governor of Kaduna State, El-Rufai? How reassuring is that?
Well, ordinarily, first, thank you for inviting me. Ordinarily, it should be reassuring. But given what we have had and what we have gone through, I think they need to do more than merely reassuring. There are certain steps that ought to have been taken. The governor of Kaduna State ordered the arrest of those people. Nothing happened. And rather than keeping quiet, they still came out to say that they were not going to be respectful, as it were, of the head of the country. And I think that was not good enough. Certainly the police ought to have moved. The governor of Kaduna State is the chief security officer of the state. And if he says something, it should be done. If a step had been taken and the people had been rounded up, or at least pursued, even if they were not caught, then they would know that there's some seriousness to what is going on. It's the same thing that has made the clamor for Biafra to have lingered this far. Steps ought to have been taken to checkmate the clamor.
All right, so now the principle of self-determination is an integral part of contemporary, customary international law, especially recognized by the United Nations. So is it by threat now that the federal government should try to even solve this problem?
It's not by threat. Threat certainly will not do anything. But when there's a potent and actual danger to the corporate existence of the country, I think definite steps ought to be taken to show that, one, this country has fought a gruesome war to be won. And I was part of that war as a war correspondent. So I know what it is. And those that are clamoring for division or for war now certainly are people who did not experience what happened at that time. Because if they did, they will know that there are other alternatives to solving problems than war. No matter how fierce a war has been, you are still coming back to sit down at a round table.
And that's the point. So
yes,
what are the other alternatives to the different agitations all across the country? You have the Northerners say the Igbos should leave by 1st October. The South is saying if a threat to the Southeast is a threat to the whole of the South.
Yes, definitely.
Don't you think that is a recipe for real confusion? And like the acting president said, nobody can determine where this goes. So what are the alternatives really to this agitation?
Well, the principal alternative is dialogue. I mean, government should be ready to listen to every component of the unit.
What should this dialogue compose of?
It should compose of, one, finding out what the grounds of each group is, and then addressing it, like the acting president did in the case of the Niger Delta. I mean, you see that there has been a lull, at least, in that region. And it was because of his going there, reassuring them. Even if nothing is physically being done, at least there's that reassurance that something will be done. And people are hoping on that. This country, we had several national conferences to resolve our conflicts. I don't know why it is so difficult for the federal government, for instance, to take a look at the recommendations and see what aspects of them can be implemented to assuage some of the feelings of the people.
Well, the Senate has already asked the executive to send recommendations of the 2014 confab to its full
that's coming several months too late, if not years, okay? Right. But it's okay, it's a step in the right direction. But then I'm also hearing that, I mean, from the social media, that there are some elements that are saying, no, they shouldn't go through that route. But the thing is, and it has always been the problem of this nation, for those who are in authority to feel that they know all the problems of the people, to think that whatever is suitable to their own problems should of necessity be suitable to the problems of others.
You said let me quickly come in here. Members of the IPOB were not part of that meeting called by the acting president to try to douse the problem in the country at the moment now. Yes. And so are you positive that there is going to be any favorable outcome from this? Because these are the boys now sounding the loudest about the need for Igbos to secede from Nigeria.
It is the voice of the boys that you are hearing. Behind the voice, certainly there are masquerades, okay? Or behind the, yes, there are people who are
egging them on?
Yes. And I think the people that the vice president has talked to are the right people, because they can rein those kids who are talking.
But how much clout do you think these leaders, whether you're talking about the northern leaders, southeast leaders, and all other leaders, how much clout do you think they have that they can actually bring to bear on all these young people calling for a cessation or a quit notice?
Well, definitely they have considerable leverage over them. Considerable.
What should they be telling their young people specifically?
They should be telling them to embrace dialogue. That at the end of the day, they are still going to dialogue, no matter the situation. Okay, and they should also bring to their understanding the experiences of the past. Those experiences were not palatable. I was part and parcel of it, and I know.
All right, but don't you think, quickly now, because we're running out of time, that there should be maybe some form of a referendum for at least the people to understand that, okay, we want to stay with Nigeria?
Definitely. I don't think, if they like, they can do a referendum. But if they go back to the recommendations of the last national conference, of which, I mean, in which every part, every component of the nation took part, certainly there will be recommendations out of the so many that could be implemented that would assuage the present discontent that we are having in the
Okay,
so
you believe that the 2014 confab holds the key to Nigeria's progress?
Very much so.
Thank you so much, Professor Idowu Sobowale, for joining us on the News Hour.
Thank you very much.